you ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon.
Well, everyone, I'm so excited for our next guest because I've seen her on stage. You've seen her on stage. We go back. I just saw her on Broadway like last season, but I go back to like Color Purple Broadway with our next guest. So she is no stranger, and she is going to march this Louie Armstrong musical right down the middle of Times Square with this all-star cast back on Broadway. I am excited for this because I know they're going to bring the music and the arrangements and the whole flair direct to Broadway with A Wonderful World, the Louie Armstrong musical. It's coming this season. Do you have your tickets yet? I know that I'm bringing my family because my father is a little obsessed with the Louie Armstrong of it all. But I got to ask our friend Darlesia. He had a lot of wives. I think she's one of them in the show. Darlesia, welcome to the show.
That's an introduction, yes.
We have to give the full introduction.
It's true. It's true.
You're coming back to Broadway right here at the 54, the Studio 54 Theater.
I know, right? Constructed in 1927, turned into like 54 studios, and now we're in the building, processing a lot of spirits that's passed through that place, but introducing a new one, Louie Armstrong, and his whole host of characters, professional, personal, including the wives, which I am one of. I play Lucille Wilson. His fourth and long-lasting marriage of being together for 34 years, and it's very exciting, very, very exciting.
So did you know a lot about Louie Armstrong's personal life before you read this book, or?
Hadn't a clue.
Me either.
I had no idea how involved his life was. And then, of course, we're setting this show on the backdrop of like 70 years of life, right? Where even his birth date is controversial, whereas there's a discrepancy between July 4th and August 4th, which is very interesting. But August 4th seems to resonate more frequently in books, which happens actually to be my birthday, August 4th. So I'm finding a lot of wonderful divine synchronicities connected to this particular production. But yeah, his life is pretty full, very exciting, very interesting, extremely involved, and every war basically that America had within the beginning of the century, the 20th century, up until 1970. I mean, we're participating in it.
Wow, a whole entire life shown on stage. You can go to louisarmstrongmusical.com so you can get your tickets before the reviews come out, before this is a big old hit, and you want to get your tickets and support theater. What I love about this is that, no shade to other shows, but there's a lot of adaptations of movies. There's a lot of properties that we all know, but this is you may know some of the music, but this is an original musical the book written and crafted about his life, coming to theaters in New York City after its run in Chicago and where it has been.
Yes.
What's it like last season when you had a dance in Ohio and you bring an original piece to Broadway? What is that like versus stepping into a role that's already been established on stage?
Well, I mean, I have the grace of you talk about last season, but two original productions that were written. This production is written by Orrin Squire, and I'm really fascinated at how he's been able to handle the material, considering how much of it you're going to have to craft and select and make very specific choices about to cover a 2.5 hour period. About someone who is so iconic in our musical history and, was the most successful jazz musician ever, the most highly paid jazz musician ever, the only one to grace both Time magazine and, no one has been able to really kind of cover as much popularity and successful territory as Louie Armstrong. And that's quite a feat, and it's thrilling. And I'm revving up because we're getting closer to our previews, which is October 16th. And our opening, of course, is November 11th. But when you're with a production and you're at this point, you it's time for you to have an audience. You
Yes.
need you need the rest of your company basically with you in the room, so that you can learn, so that you can share, so that you can communicate what works, what doesn't, which is part and parcel what the previews are definitely about, right? So you can really kind of carve out what is going to sing to them and what they're going to be able to walk away with, what they're going to remember, and what they want to return to see, because we want them to come back and we want more people, to inhabit the space, inhabit the world of Louis Armstrong, and understand what his life was really like, and the nature of the four wives, and how his life was cultivated also because of the four wives, and how little they're discussed, and the whole premise of the woman behind the man. You actually get a chance to meet these women behind the man, and Lucille, of course, I'm partial. No, needless to say, I'm partial because she was such an agent for archiving and creating works beyond his passing that would help create a particular kind of legacy for him, that supports him, that helped to take care of the neighborhood, including, the home in Corona, Queens, which is now a landmark, as well as a museum, which is also a national landmark, and how the community really understands those places and spaces, and they're very respectful because those spaces help to take care of the community, and that's how it's always been. And I love her independence. I love her values. She set out as a dancer, to really kind of help take care of her family and her three sisters when her father's taxi business was failing. And then she really thrived as a dancer and had quite a successful career as a Cotton Club performer, and also breaking, another record, being the darkest skin on the line, because you couldn't be darker than a paper bag. You had to be 21 years of age, and younger, and you 5'6", and she was the shortest. She came in on the line at age 26. She danced at the Alhambra Ballroom for 9 years. There, of course, where she met Louis Armstrong, and the rest is, quote,
History.
you know, history.
The last and the longest wife, for sure. I can't wait.
Yes,
I want to know the wild soap opera that leads to your character. It's jumping up on stage. So you got to get your tickets. Like we said, they're available now, and the previews are about to start. The show's going to open. So get your tickets and support art, especially the legacy of Louis Armstrong. His music is played. What a Wonderful World is played. My father plays it every day. It will live forever. And he always says, when I'm not here anymore, I'm like, I don't want to talk about your funeral. I want to talk about today, but I got you. I got you. It's a part of your life, and it's a part of many of your lives out here as well.
yes,
We could be following on Instagram, so you could see the journey as we lead up to opening, as well. Your career, when you look back and you go back to the very beginning, your Broadway, going back to early Broadway, and you go to the
yes,
Goodbye Girl, and you
yes.
you go back to the Goodbye Girl, and you look at Ragtime, which I mean, you when you look back and now you see, I don't know how many shows it is, 8, 9, 10. It's a
This is
lot
my
of
eighth Broadway show.
show.
Mhm.
When you look back to you studying musical theater, you starting to audition, moving to New York, and being a part, can you imagine this is your eighth show?
I know. You don't know. It's not guaranteed, I don't take it for granted. I love this. I just love it. I mean, I probably could have quit like 5 times at least. And actually, I was on my way to Houston. And this happened. And I'm from Houston, Texas originally. And this happened. And I'm thanking God. I'm happy that God was like, okay, no, you need to stay in New York and you need to do this. And so I'm trying to like just sit in the back seat here and be guided in the right way so that I can do the work I'm supposed to do to cultivate whatever it is that needs to be cultivated, inside of this story, inside of my personal life, with a whole host of people. Um, I firmly believe that anyone that participates in a production, that they are a part of that production for one grand purpose, that we are in service of the production, we are in service to the community that sees the production, and we're all growing. We don't know how exactly, but we're all growing. There is definitely expansion on the horizon in
Oh,
every way.
I believe that. I know that. I mean, we just talking about you in particular, besides this all-star cast and this creative team,
Yes.
um, she's got receipts, everybody, because she didn't just do Ragtime, she was Sarah. She didn't just do Color Purple, she was Nettie and Celie. She didn't just do, like, we're talking about, you have the receipt. We saw Once on this Island and How to Dance in Ohio, etc. Shuffle Along, Book of Mormon. You have done your due diligence. We're ready for you to light up the stage again in New York
Thank
City.
you. That is the sweetest.
No, it's the truth. So, what is it like to work with this all star James? Tony winning extraordinaire playing Louie Armstrong. I'm sure I've heard a tour de force performance and this incredible cast of people that are around you and the other wives.
And the other wives, everyone is really diligent about investing in the work and stepping up their game. And each time we come into the room, you see that there's a little bit more growth and more growth and more growth. Considering this is my eighth Broadway show, um, my process is very organic. So I kind of know how to be in the moment and work from there. Um, and I feel very blessed to have that kind of receptivity to the work. But of course, it's taken over 30 plus years in order for that to happen, right? And so, as duly noted, all these various characters that I've played, I love characterization. I love building arcs from the ground up, those that pre-existed, but in those that are brand new, I love like working from scratch, and so it's the best possible work I think that an artist, an actor can do, um, because you're really inside of your craft, and so I'm watching and I'm paying attention, and I'm allowing, and if there's something that I can add, I do my best to be very supportive in the room. Um, and give people their flowers while they can hear it and see it. And yes, I have a lot of receipts.
Yes, you do. You do. And when you look at the not that all of this matters, but it does matter in a lot of ways. When you look at the billing, your
Yes.
billing, you are the top billed. You are you're kind of the mother figure. These younger people that are in this show, you have the experience, you have the role, and you have the role and stature. Along with James, you're kind of like leading this cast and this creative team to the finish line here, and that must be thrilling and scary and an honor.
you know, there's I'm growing up somehow. It's been very interesting, but I'm growing up. I thought I was going to be the oldest woman in the room, um, and I may be. I think I'm the oldest woman in the room. Um, because we were joking around about all of that. Who's the oldest in the cast? And I'm totally fine with it. I didn't know that I would feel that way, but I really am, having been the youngest in the room before, which was
Yes.
quite a challenge. But now, um, I feel like I have the right kind of psychological wherewithal to be in a place where I can really be present inside of myself and be comfortable and be at peace. But some of this has actually happened on the heels of some really major transformative life events. And because of those specific life events, it's brought me to a place where I know what's precious, I know what's real, you know. I know that the spirit of the person is more valuable than the physical self.
Yes.
I've been learning so much lately, and I'm grateful. Sometimes it's been tearful,
Sure.
but I'm still grateful. I'm very grateful.
I love that so much. That's so beautiful. And that gratitude, we feel it and we send that right back to you. And we're grateful for all the time you've spent on stage, that voice, your choices, your acting, and the joy you've given to thousands and millions of people who have come, stepped through, and sat in a seat, held a playbill, and saw you up on stage. I
I'm
would just,
sensitive. I can feel them, and I listen and I pay attention to what people may need. Even individually, I can just feel it.
you've got
Yeah.
that empath feeling that you can sense it. I can tell already as well. And that's what makes you a great artist. What I'm reading about this show in particular, my selfish part of me wants to just be entertained. And the selfish part of me is just like Bramford Marsalis is working on music and
Freaking
arrangement.
believe it. I know. I never would have, who'd have thunk it? I didn't.
What is it like to have directors and James being a co-director and Christina being a co-director? What is it like as an actor to have a team of directors? Sometimes actors don't want one director if you have the wrong
Much
director.
less. Well, you know what? I've, like I said, I've been doing this for a really, really, really long time, and I pay attention to the little things, right? And because sometimes the little things make all the difference in the world. And what I've noticed about our co-directing team is that they are very communicative. They work with transparency, and they're kind people. You know, they want to help us make the most um, crucial and um, specific decisions that we can possibly make um, in order to facilitate the work that we need to do for this particular piece. So I I see how they can tag team one another. I see the rules that they've established for one another and those that they've shared with us as a company. And I think it's wonderful, having a group that can rely on one another and 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 be as comfortable with one another, not only as colleagues but as friends.
Well, they come with their own set of receipts as well, because if
They do.
it's they do, they sure do. You all do. So it's a pro team, everybody. There's pros over there. They're bringing the 54, the theater at Studio 54. They're bringing the A list. The pros are out here on these Broadway streets, and we're excited to see. I can't wait to be down there and see the show.
Thank you. I can't wait to see you too. I'm looking forward to it, especially on the heels of this particular interview, and you know so much about the show already and about the cast of characters, so it'll be fun talking to you again.
I can't wait. Well, I want people to know that you can get tickets at louisarmstrongmusical.com. If you're coming to New York City this winter, if you're for the holidays, if you're looking, you have a music lover in your life, that you have the perfect gift to give this holiday season, or if it's Thanksgiving weekend or whatever's going on,
You will
you know
not be
where
disappointed.
you're gonna dance yourself right out of this theater. I promise you that. louisarmstrongmusical.com is where you can get your tickets, and we're gonna follow you because we want to see the journey. We want to see opening night fashion. We want to see it all. We want to see the whole entire journey as we feel like we're going to Broadway with you. So we're gonna follow on Instagram. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And I'm ready. I'm ready to hear that voice, and we're ready to celebrate with you this whole entire year. Congratulations.
That's awesome. I'm excited. Thank you so much.